Using acrylic yarn and pulling the thread from the outside of the skein are just 2 out of 5 things that I don't do in crochet, and I don't recommend you do either. And if you want to know why, just come with me in this video. If you're new here in the channel, I am Bianca from Crochetniaks, and there are a couple of things in crochet that I don't do, but I must say that this is something that varies from person to person. You might not agree with me with some of the things that I'll mention in this video, but that's totally fine because everybody has different ideas and different experiences, and I truly believe that it's important to hear other people's experience as well, so we can move forward and also learn from those things and make up our own decisions. So the first thing in my list that I don't do when it comes to crocheting amigurumis is using acrylic yarn. And when I talk about acrylic yarn, I'm talking about 100% acrylic. Yeah guys, I don't do it, I don't like it, and I don't recommend for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is that I don't like the aspect of the amigurumi with acrylic yarn that much. And what I mean about the aspect is that lint, because we can see that the amigurumi is covered with lint and the yarn is a bit fuzzy. I don't like it. I don't like this aspect in the amigurumi. But this is something completely personal, and I mean, this is something that I dislike about the yarn, but maybe this is the effects that you want to cause in your amigurumi. And that's totally fine if you like it, but I usually prefer more like a steady look in my toys. And the second and very important reason why I don't use acrylic, and I also don't recommend you use it too, is because acrylic is plastic. Yeah guys, it's a Dear Lord. Yeah guys, it's a synthetic material, and with the overload of plastic in the world right now, I really believe that we should do our part to reduce it, and that's one of the reasons that I don't like acrylic yarn. I've heard from a couple of people saying that they chose to work with acrylic because it's usually cheaper, and I know they are cheaper, but cheaper material sometimes, not always, can also mean a bad quality material. And working with a bad quality material can make your amigurumi journey not that comfortable and not that nice. So yeah, I really believe that investing in some good quality yarn, cotton yarn, is my favorite. But if you don't like the fact that cotton yarn has no stretch, using a combination of cotton with acrylic is a good option. But 100% acrylic, I don't recommend it that much. The second thing that I definitely don't do in crochet, and I think that I should have left this for the first one because this is the most important. The thing that I do not do in crochet is think I am too advanced to learn. And just so you know, I had my first crochet experience as a kid with my grandma like a long time ago. And I crocheted amigurumi for almost 9 years. And I still study. And I study a lot. I'm constantly studying and I'm constantly learning. I learn with YouTube. I purchase some patterns from friends of mine and I learn with them. And I buy courses about crochet, about amigurumi, because I believe there is always something out there to learn. And let me say it again, because I don't think I can emphasize this enough. I am always learning, and you should always be learning too. And the main reason why I'm emphasizing this that much is because I believe it's really sad when someone comes to me with the sentence that I'm an advanced crocheter or I'm a very, very experienced crocheter, and with that tone like I know more than you, because no one knows more than anyone. As I said, we are constantly learning, and I think it's sad when a person comes with that attitude like I know more than you, I'm experienced, so if I don't know something, I don't understand something, it's because you don't explain it well, instead of assuming that there is something out there to learn. And let me share something interesting here with you. This was actually not on my list to talk about in this video, but I got really inspired after watching a TV series yesterday with my husband. And in the series, there was this guy, he was a chef, a very famous one, like the biggest chef in Denmark, and he was very famous for his pastries, he was the best chef. And a guy asked him, how did he become so good? And his answer was amazing, and it was an inspiration for me to tell you in this video. After a while, you get to a point when it's not about the skill anymore. It's about being open. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, I was really inspired by this sentence because that's it. We can only get better and improve at something if we assume that there is something out there for us to learn. And we have to be open to learn. The third thing that I do not do in crochet is start from the outside. And what do I mean by that? Well, I always try to start working with a yarn, pulling the thread from the inside, like this one. I always mention it here in the channel, and this one is easy because Hobby has this easy start thing with their yarns, which is amazing. So this skein of yarn here is very easy. You see that I can easily pull the thread from the inside, but not all skeins of yarns are that easy to work with. And I have another example here from a yarn that I really like. I like the quality, I like almost everything about this yarn, because the only thing that I dislike is because they don't have the easy start for us to pull the yarn from the inside. This is a new skein. I haven't tried to pull the thread with this one here. So we will do it together, but just so you know, when I say work from the outside, it means that you remove the label and start working with this yarn here that I don't want to unwrap because it's new. Let me put it back. And the main reason why I don't like to work with the yarn, well, actually, there are two reasons why I do not like to work with the yarn from the outside. First, as I showed you, you have to remove the label. And this is like a very neutral beige brownish color, and probably if I do not keep the label, I won't remember which brand it is or which color it is in a few weeks. So for me, it's really important to keep the label. You see that I have exactly the same yarn here. It's the same brand, the same color. And well, I was working with a project and I needed to buy another one. That's why I have this brand new here. But you see that I was working with it and it's just like a small ball of yarn right now, but even though I kept the yarn label and I put some tape here so it doesn't escape, I always do these kind of things to have my yarn stash organized, and that way, I won't lose the label and I always know which color it is, which brand it is. And the other reason why I like to keep the yarn label and work with the thread from the inside is because when you're crocheting, the yarn like keeps jumping on the floor and it's awful. The yarn does not come smoothly to you when you crochet, and I don't like it that much. I have seen lots of videos here on YouTube, lots of people teaching different ways to pull the yarn from the inside of a skein. Some people said like if the label is here written like this, then you should pull the thread from this side, from the upper part of the yarn and not the bottom. But it does not work 100% of the times because I tried it with a couple of different brands here at home. With some brands it did work and I was super happy when I saw this tip on YouTube, and it worked with a couple of yarns, but it does not work with all of them. I tried, and for some brands it simply doesn't work. Let me see how this one will behave. Not good. Oh, sometimes it's not easy. Let me try the other side. Well, yeah, I gave up. I will not keep doing that on the video. I want to do it later, patiently. But as you see, some yarns, it works perfectly, like the Hobby one. And some other yarns, it's not that easy to pull the thread from the inside, as you could see with Katona. It's a good yarn. This is the only thing that I dislike about it. It's not that easy. The fourth thing that I do not do in crochet is buy a pattern without checking the source. And I feel like I cannot stress this enough here in the channel. There are so many scams here in the internet, on Instagram, on Etsy, and I have also seen here on YouTube as well, unfortunately. And that's why I say that it's very important for us to pay attention before buying an amigurumi pattern. And check the store, check if it's a real store, and if the person is not stealing from other person's designs, which unfortunately can happen. But there is another video here in the channel where I talk like very detailed about this issue, and how to recognize these stores, I mean on Etsy or whatever, but I give lots of tips and I explain it very detailed how these scams work. So don't worry, because I'll leave the link for this video in the description and also here in the cards, and you can check it later. And the last thing that I do not do in crochet is buy exactly the same yarn brand recommended in the pattern. And the reason is I save my money. As simple as that. For me, it's way more important to keep the yarn type than the yarn brand. So if I buy a pattern that says that they are using 100% cotton yarn, I will look at my yarn stash at home to use 100% cotton yarn. And if I want to make sure that the yarn that the designer used is similar to the ones that I have at home, what do I do in this case? I check on the internet. I check the gauge, the composition, and the crochet hook that the yarn is recommending to the ones that I have. And if it's similar, I definitely go with the things that I have at home, so I won't spend more money buying new yarns because it's not necessary. And this is something that I always say here in the channel. I say it to the people who come to me asking, because I remember when I was in Brazil, I used to crochet my amigurumis with Brazilian brand, and people were constantly asking me, oh, I want this yarn, but it was so expensive for them, and they had so many other good quality brands available in their countries, but they wanted to stick to exactly the same yarn that I was using, even though sometimes it was not even the best option. It was just the option that I had. So in case you have a similar yarn type from a local brand that it's cheaper for you where you live, go for it. But in case you don't know how to do it, how to substitute the yarn correctly, there is a whole video here in the channel dedicated to it. I'll leave the video also in the description so you can check later, because this video might be very good for you. But now it's your turn. What is the one thing in crochet that you don't do? Please write to me in the comment section, because I'm very curious. And now I'll leave you with this video here so you can learn how to check the right sources before you buy an amigurumi pattern.